$21,660 for a family of one. So you as a one person, you can buy yourself a three bedroom, one bathroom, single family house. If you're making $21,000, can you believe that? Now here's a family of two. That means you and your child or you and your husband. Okay? Maximum $29,140. Let's say an average household of four, which can be four of anything. One adult, three children. Two adults, two children. Okay? Four. The maximum, $44,100. That don't mean you have to be making $44,100. That means that you could be making no more than $44,100. You could be making, for a family of four, $21,000. Okay? You could be making, for a family of five, $29,000. Okay? Okay, now let's say that you have a big family. Okay? And there's 8 of you. 2 adults and 6 children. The maximum income is $74,000. That don't mean you have to be making $74,000. That means that there could be 8 of you, and you could be making $59,000. There could be 2 adults and you got 6 children. You could be making $36,000. This is the guidelines back in '09, so the income levels have risen. But this is a threshold, means that this is the maximum. Okay, so if you're making $100,000 and there's only one of you, you don't qualify. If there's 3 of you in the family and you're making $55,000, you may not qualify, because based on what the guidelines are today. The guidelines back in '09 was $36,620 for a family of 3. If there's 3 of you and you're making $60,000, you make too much money. You don't qualify for these particular programs. Okay? Now there are other guidelines that I can read to you, but I'm not going to go into detail. Now I will give you the number and the phone number to the local agencies, the state agency, the government agencies, and the local municipalities who help out with down payment and closing cost assistance. And a lot of times the help is right in the borough that you live, and you don't even know it. When I first came here to Buffalo about 10 years ago, there was so much information about home buyer assistance programs, and I couldn't believe it. I had a book. I don't even remember where. I think I know where the book is, but it was a book about all the different houses. It was 100 pages. 100 organizations that offered first-time home buyer assistance. And I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe it. So many organizations. Why are there so many people renting? Why are there so many tenants? I can tell you one reason, because it's easier to just rent an apartment to somebody rather than try to take the time to try to sell them a house. Secondly, firstly, is because a lot of people who want to buy a home don't know how to go about buying a home and don't know that these programs actually exist. Okay, you may be making a little bit of money. You're not making a whole lot of money, and you're probably thinking, oh, you don't qualify for a house because you're not making that much money. But in reality, you do qualify for a house. You're making enough money because you fall into the program, this low to moderate income program that I talk about in my book, Free Money for Home Buyers. Okay? Now, these programs will offer grants, subsidies, and you don't have to be getting Section 8 to qualify. You could be working full-time job and getting no subsidy at all. But if your income level reaches the maximum or is underneath the maximum, okay, doesn't go over that threshold, which a lot of us are pretty much in that guideline, we can qualify. Now, how do you know if you're ready to buy a home? Okay, do you have a steady source of income? As you saw when I took that phone call, do you have, are you able to meet your income and other monthly expenses pretty reasonably? What is your situation? How are you able to deal with a lot of things here? And I will tell you, if you meet none of these criteria that will help qualify you for a mortgage, I've been willing to bet you're a low, moderate income individual and family that you will get some that you will get your income tax at the end of the year. Okay? And 10 grand, is it 12 grand? It might have went up to 12 grand. You can get $12,000 and buy yourself a house and still have some money left over for repairs. A lot of people don't understand how investment is very important these days. Oh, I'm getting Section 8, they paying my rent. What do I care? Okay, fine. Maybe you might be one of the lucky ones. You're getting Section 8. There's still a program for you, and you can buy a house as investment. And when you start getting enough money, you don't need Section 8 anymore. Leave it for somebody who needs that. Okay, there's so many programs out here available to first-time home buyer programs. And a lot of times what happens is a lot of investors end up buying these houses and they end up jacking up the price, or they'll charge you a $900 rent. Now that same house on Millicent, I'm going to follow it. I'm going to see what the progress is on that house. If I can get somebody to buy it, or if somebody else ends up finding a buyer, or if an investor actually ends up buying that house. And I'm going to let you know what happens with that house if it ends up for rent, and how much the rent is actually going to be going for, or who actually gets to purchase that house. We're going to talk more about that in detail as we proceed. Again, I want to thank you for joining me today. My name is Sylvia Black, and this is Real Estate, Religion, and You. Today we were talking about my book, Free Money for Home Buyers. And I want to thank you for joining me today for Real Estate, Religion, and You. And I encourage you to please join me next week right here on Time Warner Public Access TV Channel 20 at 6:30 to 7 p.m. and also Saturdays from 12:30 to 1 p.m. And please join me again next week right here on Time Warner Public Access. You can visit my website at affordablehomesandapartments.com for more of my real estate books. If you're an investor and you would like to learn how to build a portfolio of investment property here in the Western New York region, we here at Affordable Homes and Apartments can assist you with that. We can show you how to purchase some homes throughout the state of New York, get them fixed up, and using other people's money. And I'm writing a book about that, of course. And also, we can show you how to get it done and get it done right and negotiate the price down so you can get the property at practically nothing. And then we can help you rent out the property to some good paying tenants, manage the building for you, or you can manage it yourself. A lot of people from out of town in New York City think that they can manage a property from 400 miles away. Well, that's not true. That's why we ended up moving here, because we knew that we couldn't trust anybody else to manage our property for us. Well, thank you for joining me today.